Children's success depends on the love their parents give to them. Veronika paints large paintings. Her works are pastel and soft. Victoria's are bright, colorful, and have lots of small details. They're both very joyful. They love expressing themselves, and they never stop talking. These works are fascinating. They feel alive and possess character and a special magnetism. Paul Cezanne used to say that the sublimity of an idea shows us the soul of the artist. Looking at these pictures, you immediately want to meet their creators and get to know them better. Today, the heroes of this episode are two artists, sisters Viktoria and Veronika Hrabchuk from Nikopol.
Месяцев 5 они даже начали уже разрисовывать стены, так как я была тоже...
When they were about 5 months old, they started drawing on the walls. I was also an artist when I was a kid, and I used to draw on my walls at home. So my husband and I hung the cheapest wallpapers we could find, and we didn't restrict them. They were always into drawing in some way. I started making sequin tattoos, painted using henna, even though I worked in a bank. At weekends, I did wedding makeup, so the kids always had access to all this material and tried everything. I got really interested in drawing after I saw my mother paint a very beautiful picture of either sunset or dawn. I can't remember. There was a dolphin and a ship, and it was beautiful, and I wanted to come up with something of my own then. Yes, Mom painted it in literally 5 minutes. Painting was a special way, right from early childhood, for the girls to express themselves, explore the world, as this world then became completely different to them. They lost their hearing at the age of 3, and we had to do something about that. They didn't know how to talk, so I had to teach them all the words. I drew pictures, cut them out, and pasted them into a notebook, a table, chair. I had to teach the kids how to speak properly. It wasn't easy for the girls because of the visits to doctors, classes with a speech therapist, and a whole year spent away from home. But all this effort paid off. They were taught to speak in a kindergarten in Dnipro. They hardly ever spoke at the age of 6 because they lost their hearing. But then they started talking, and I sent them to a regular school. I took them to the toughest school in the city. I just threw them into the deep end. I don't think I cut them any slack. Even if they're average in a good school, that would be good for them. But if it were a weak school, they'd just get lost. The girls started practicing drawing with a teacher at the age of 6. They developed their artistic skills, did various crafts, and even sold some of the items. I taught them that hearing loss did not matter, that even though they had a flaw, they could always do something, have prospects, and make money, so they wouldn't have any hang-ups in that regard. A little later, the famous Nikopol-based artist Ihor Bogdanenko started teaching the girls, and they got basic knowledge. He didn't demand any technicality from them, he just wanted them to express themselves. And so all their paintings are very expressive, bright and beautiful. It was already obvious back then that the girls had to develop their talents, keep studying, and acquire experience. Their parents supported them fully, and the girls enrolled in an art school.
У нас навпаки така політика, щоб спільно працювати батьки, діти і педагоги. Якщо не буде спільно...
Our policy is such that children, their parents and teachers must work together. If they don't work together, there will be no good results. The doors of our school are open to all kids in Nikopol who want to learn.
або малювати, але ми вибираємо краще.
Naturally, not everyone will sing, dance, or paint. We choose the best of the best. The girls were really special. We saw their works, and despite the fact that they're twins, their paintings were different. Each had her own character and style, so we immediately selected them to study here.
Тому ми одразу відібрали їх до нас на навчання.
The works are really different, and the sisters even paint still life differently.
Вероника высчитывает свое построение.
Veronika, as if calculates the composition. She can even measure the dimensions and then calculate the proportions, while she studies at a physics school, and her specialization is math.
Специализация у нее по математике. Если у этой все строго по математическим постулатам, то у другой...
And while this one does everything strictly by the math tenets, the other one studies biochemistry and is even more strict, though she's getting softer. So they're somehow different and similar at the same time.
Хоть и разные, а вот как-то они одинаковые получаются.
Viktoria and Veronika love experimenting, learning new techniques, and taking part in various projects and competitions. For example, their illustrations found their way onto the pages of books about outstanding Cossacks and warrior Scythians, written by people's artist of Ukraine, Serhiy Kustov.
Детям тексты, содержание распечатывали, читали.
The text was printed out for them. They read it and chose the moments they wanted to illustrate and did so. They are students who can draw any topic you give them.
Не так, что там по выбору или по желанию. У девчонок тоже так может получаться.
The girls can do the same because they already have a certain fine art skill. They can already use their knowledge.
Они могут уже пользоваться своими знаниями.
Another passion Vika and Nika have is vitinanki, or stenciling. This old Ukrainian decorative art requires special skill and perseverance. The sisters make wonderful stencils of fairly impressive size. What's difficult about them? Can I answer? No, let me start and you'll finish. Okay. I think they're difficult because you have to draw a sketch first so they would connect with one another. You know, so they won't be separate. The hardest part is working out the small details when you put many things together. What do you find difficult? My difficulties are when I have to layer a lot of paper and cut out very small pieces. The last hard part for me was when I was working on my angels. Their wings, every feather, every tiny hole. It was all so tiny that it kept tearing. So I cut special shapes out of adhesive tape to keep it all together to stop it tearing.
Очень скрупулезные обе, точные обе.
Both are very scrupulous and accurate. With stencil work, you need to calculate everything and have a vision of the finished work. You must see the future of your work.
Которое у тебя уже будет в изделии.
And you must see it in all its details, because you have to show a whole load of small details. So it's very handy that they're both very observant and accurate, as this is handy for stencils.
Наблюдательные очень и очень точные, то им это очень даже с руки выполнять эти вытинанки.
The simplest and most recognizable stencil is a common snowflake made out of paper. But Viktoria and Veronika create much more complicated stencils using different techniques, which is tricky and takes time. Creating stencils with a plot never comes without injuries. Cuts and bruises are nothing out of the ordinary at this point. Émile Zola said that the work of art is a corner of the universe, seen through the prism of a certain temperament. It's hard to disagree with that. Our girls definitely see this world through the prism of their own imagination and temperament.
Ну вот я, например, не знаю, как в прошлом году очень часто, когда выходила из дома, у меня...
Well, last year I had an action movie or a fantasy playing out in my mind very often when I came outside.
Я такая,
Once I was a ninja
там,
on the way to
я
school.
ниндзей была, и все остальные там на меня нападают. Я даже
Everyone else was attacking me, and I had to save the princess.
Я там начинаю
I start to dream things up, and I felt like I was in a different world.
А просто я в другом мире нахожусь. Но
Yes, I had to tell her to calm down because she was flailing her arms like crazy. It's like that with everything. Each of them shows her character either on a canvas or in other work. It seems that the girls are exactly the same at first, but then you realize that they're different both in appearance and character, and each has her own deep inner world and worldview.
Я бы сказала, она очень приставучая.
I'd say she's very clingy because when we were younger, she'd always come up to me and say, "Let's do something together."
Вика, Вика, давай сделай что-нибудь, давай нарисуй.
Or let's draw something, or let's play, or let's go outside. I was lazy and didn't like going anywhere. I loved calm, tenderness.
Куда выходить? Я любила вот спокойствие, такое, нежность. Я говорю,
I used to say, Vika, while we're small, we can do anything.
Давай,
I wanted to make perfume from flowers, but I didn't, because Vika didn't want to.
Вика не хотела.
Они обе очень веселые, очень любят рассказывать всякие.
They're both very joyful, love expressing themselves, and they never stop talking.
Впечатлительные обе, потому что рассказы.
Both of them are very impressionable, because they tell stories with such details that I wouldn't have noticed them as an adult.
Как они замечают. Вот, у них все это очень, ну, на таком уровне, как бы не зашор.
They're on a very fresh level, you know. You can feel this fresh experience in their stories. The girls take an interest in everything. They love cooking, and the pizza they make is quite something. They wrote a business project for an economic competition and won. They did athletics, performed well at photo shoots, and even took dancing classes. The loss of hearing was not a problem at all. They could feel the music, even with a hearing aid. So they feel the beat and their moves are smooth and fluent. The girls are very responsible, love helping others, helping each other. Their energy would probably be enough to light the whole of Nikopol. Today they still have art school and table tennis in their lives. But those classes take up all their free time. They often go to competitions. I always went with them when they were small because they needed certain care. That is, they couldn't hear without a hearing aid, so they needed to be constantly looked after. They've got used to it now and can take care of themselves, so now they got to such events on their own. The girls often play against each other in competitions. In times like this, it is difficult not to notice their rivalry. When we take part in competitions, it's a disaster. Something snaps in my mind. Will I compete against my own sister? But I still want to win and do my best, but she treats me differently. She plays with the others like usual, but when it comes to me, she gets into this "I'm going to give it to you" mood. Victoria does it a bit better. Veronika is slightly weaker, she's very shy, so I should help her to open up a bit. She gets very anxious because of the big responsibility. But even at competitions, the girls show care and support for one another. Say what you like, but they're a team. Veronika supports me with food. When Vika is upset, you can't please her with anything but chocolate. Table tennis is an opportunity for the girls to keep themselves in good shape and to use all the muscle groups without overloading the body. The sisters are also making progress in sports. They quickly grasp all the elements and train well. If they only did table tennis, they would have definitely become champions of Ukraine. Vika and Nika don't yet know what profession they're going to connect their lives with. So far they've been doing what they really like, what they're good at, and what still has room to develop. Art will always be a part of their lives because it is their life. They also have each other, and no matter what anyone says, the connection between the twins is really strong. I can read her mind.
Она может, она
She
читает
really
всё,
can.
не
She reads all my
говорит.
thoughts.
Вот она
She
мне
often asks me to read her mind, and I try to guess what she's thinking about.
Я думаю, что же ты обо мне думаешь, что же? А шоколад?
I ask if it's chocolate. She says no. I can't do this, but she can. I think of something, and she tells me what it is,
Что я хочу. Ну, то, что я
what
думаю,
I
она
want.
говорит.
I've got no idea how it works.
Как это так?
Daring and talented, bold and restless, self-dependent and happy. They are our future. They're the future of Ukraine.